Come on, kids, there'll be plenty of time for playing later. It's Wednesday and they're preparing the green down at the club. It's Night Owl's night. So hurry now, whether it's horse, car, bus, train or boat. Don't be shy now. This is Willunga, home to farms, festivities and friendly folk. Hello! And of course, home this week to the tour down under.
Yes, there's plenty happening at Willunga, and Bowls Exposed this week is coming to you from Willunga Lawn Bowls Club.
Hi, I'm TJ Saunders and welcome to the only bowl show on the planet. Welcome to my co-host here, Jess Alvara.
Hi. And
Michael Allen.
Hi guys.
This week we come from the historic town of Willunga here at the Willunga Bowling Club. And coming up in today's show we've got...
TJ, we've got ex-Sturt footballer Alan Goldfinch, who's going to talk about how his love for sport and how he led to bowls.
And we'll also be talking to current club champion singles player Mark Ritchie, who will be telling us a bit about his experiences playing competition bowls in 2 different states, which should be good. And I'll be doing an interview with Jack and Felicity Warrington, who have a great story of falling in love right here on the greens.
That's some fantastic stuff we look forward to in this show. You know, look, I'm really interested to find out about some of the people around this historic town of Willunga. Riveting, I mean, they've accepted us into their little community here for tonight. Keep bugging us for our shirts. I can tell you what, I must say the colour of them, maybe we should give them away. I think we're probably paying for them.
I don't know, I've made about $500 already. So.
Yeah, you can only sell them once though, mate. Yeah. So hey, look, stick around, stay tuned and see what's coming up.
We're chatting with Courtney Mason, ex-student from the Mount Compass Area School. And we're chatting with Jack Wooden, one of the younger members here at Willunga Bowling Club. And is this your second year?
Yes, it is. I started at Port Willunga.
How did you go there?
Well, it was my first year, so I slowly improved every game, so it was all right.
So Courtney, tell us how you got into lawn bowls.
Well, for SACE we have to, in our physical education lessons, we have to pick a sport to do it on, and we all agreed on lawn bowls because it's something different, and it was just local, like just down the hill, so yeah, we just came here every Friday and competed.
I'm aiming to go to the under 18s, at least get in the top, get into the finals in that this year.
Cool.
It got everyone together, I think, like everyone acted as a whole, and we're all getting along really well, and like going to other schools and meeting other students and versing them as well, so it was just really good.
And so lawn bowls is not the only sport you play, is that correct?
No.
What else do you like doing? I
play football, and I used to do surf life saving.
Yep.
Clive, the instructor, he really taught us, like he was very helpful, like he taught us all the techniques into actually getting the ball closer to the jack, and he was just really good, and we picked it up really well.
Yeah. So I see you're out here playing with your dad, is that right?
Yes, I'm practicing with my dad today.
Yeah. Do you play better than him?
Well, people say I do, but he doesn't agree.
And I heard he had a little bit of success with it too,
yes.
Unexpectedly.
Yes, we went down to Lockleys. Well, first we went to Victor Harbour and Port Elliot and wherever, and then our finals was at Lockleys, and we actually competed several times and got up into the grand final, and we actually won, so it was pretty good feeling.
Congratulations.
So, thank you.
Well done.
Yeah.
You meet new people every game and all that, you make new friends, and
yeah. Any Xbox playing friends?
No.
Well, let's have a look at the interview that we did with David Petchell and Irene Fitter.
A number of things have occurred at Willunga. The members realised about 7 or 8 years ago that change had to occur, And you can see that we have new carpet greens on greens A and B. We also have put in new lights above those greens so that we have standardised lighting, which allows us to run night owls.
Our volunteers are the ladies that are also bowlers, and they work in our kitchen and they do lots of work in this club, which of course enables us to bring a lot of people into our club. You couldn't manage without them, you know. The club would not be where it is today without our men working and the ladies working in this club, because they're the ones that keep the club running. And that's why it looks as good as it does at the moment.
We've been able to buy new sets of bowls, which is important for us running a Year 12 program for students from the various high schools in the area.
So I've been here quite a few years. I've played pennant for 27 years. I'm now a social bowler, but I'm still managing the kitchen.
And she's been a club champion?
Yes, I have been, yeah. I have been a club champion twice, and in the pairs 7 times, fours 2 or 3, I think.
I joined here, I think about 5 to 6 years ago. I started with night owls and have gone on from there.
I couldn't make up my mind whether I would go here or Maiponga, and when we put that to the club, they practically sent their president over to drag us in here because they were so desperate. They wanted the new, younger women in the club, you know. Yes, so we joined Willunga. Bowls has really changed though over the years. I mean, when I started in 87, 88, it was so, the rules were so stringent. You just could not wear a dress that was any longer than 13 inches from the floor, you know, to your knee. That's where there was a measurement. We do still have the measure here in the club, and if they thought that your skirt wasn't the right length, they would get that measure out and you're done, go home, let it down. When you had a photograph taken, everybody standing in that line, all their skirts were all exactly the same length because they were 13 inches from the ground. Yeah. But that's changed a little now, yeah.
Yes.
For
Now it's 12 inches, isn't it?
No, now it's shorts and skirts and all sorts of things, yeah.
But as Irene said, we do rely a lot on volunteers. The men and women in the club do come together and support one another. It is a happy club. With the advances that we've brought in, that has meant that during our last winter, we had increased numbers of people playing bowls in the winter months because of having the carpet synthetic greens. It also has meant that with night owls, our numbers have increased and they like the new lights, so things are looking positive for Willunga.
We're down here at Willunga Bowling Club talking to local member Mark Ritchie. Welcome to the show, Mark.
Thank you, good to be here.
Yes, and look, Mark's been bowling since 2000, so 16 years on the green.
Yes.
And you started somewhere other than Willunga.
That's right. Well, like most people, probably been at other clubs.
So where did you start your bowls?
I was lucky. I started at St Kilda in Melbourne.
Yep.
We formed a cricket club, and St Kilda was really struggling. They were down to about 20 members, one team basically, and they invited some cricketers to join the club. They had a big club. It's the second oldest club in Australia, and they also had a petanque club there as well. So we helped bring the club up, and I went down to cricket practice one night, had a drink with the boys, and someone asked me to play a game of bowls, and I've hardly missed one since.
I read somewhere that the club was also under pressure from the local, or from the current state government at that stage.
At that stage, they were looking at closing it because there was 2 bowling clubs in the Albert Park area. Mm-hmm. There was Middle Park and ourselves, and the state government were looking at building a low-rise units on the St Kilda railway station, which was right next door, and there was a lot of pressure on them because there was very few members. There was a lot of pressure. So what happened out of that? Some of the people that were running the club started reaching out to the community because there was a lot of people against that sort of development. So they said, right, if you're going to do that, you've got to come into the club and use us and help us out. And from that developed Barefoot Bowls, basically about 20 odd years ago.
The first club to introduce
Well,
it?
I reckon it was probably one of the first, and they did a fantastic job of it. Got really popular. I mean, when I was there, they would have a Sunday, a really nice Sunday, and they would have 300 people on the green during the time.
Wow.
And they would take $10,000 over the bar.
Wow.
incredible situation. And a lot of clubs around Australia started taking notice of this. Paddington, and I think Adelaide even rang us, and a few other clubs talked to St Kilda about, oh, well, what are you doing? And basically it was playing music over the green, opening it up, do what you like, and most people respected it and did a really good job of it.
I also heard that St Kilda was also another first having the women try and play in the men's comp.
That's right. They had the person who was the secretary of the club, his daughter was a young bowler. She was in the state under-18 development squad, or equivalent of at the time. And she was going to university, but she couldn't play bowls on a Tuesday, which was the ladies' pennant day. So there was no option. She said, why can't I play with the men? What happened out of that, there was a QC heard this and thought, well, okay, I'll do this pro bono and I'll run with this, because she thought it was quite a strong case, and it became quite an issue.
Yeah.
And as you know, it won. But that was all started about 15, 16 years ago. I mean, it's been going on for quite some time, this discussion.
So the interesting thing, Mark, is you probably lay claim to you know, bowling at St Kilda, now here at Willunga, but you've also crossed paths with two greats of the gold game of cricket.
Yep.
One from Australia, one also from New Zealand.
Yeah, I think would be pretty, and there's a few others, but there's pretty unique. I was lucky enough to play with Richard Hadley in club cricket. Yep. My brother played first class cricket, and there was a reasonably strong club. I think there was about 7 internationals played at that club when I was there, including Chris Cairns. And there was probably a young blonde leg spinner running around in the lower grade sides that I might have played with during my time there.
Well, there you go, the Earl of 12.
Yes, he wasn't very well known at that stage.
What was such a great attraction to the game of lawn bowls for you?
It was probably more than I thought it was going to be. It was very competitive. I was lucky to be at St Kilda because the average age at St Kilda was about 30. So it was a different type of club. Got pretty competitive. I played a lot of team sport, and it was actually great to actually go out there and play an individual sport. And I did quite well at singles and quite enjoyed that. And yeah, I got hooked. You know, I was down there all the time. I was putting at least 20 hours a week on the bowling green. So yeah, it was great stuff.
There you have it. Mark Ritchie in the Willunga Bowling Club. Mark, thanks very much for your time tonight.
Thank you.
Enjoy
Thanks
your
for coming down.
Thank you.
Good.
So Trevor, tell us about your history here at Willunga.
Well, I came to the Willunga Bowling Club in 1978.
Yes.
A long time ago, ain't it?
Been here a few years.
I've been here. And I started my bowling in Mount Gambier, but work brought me up to the Adelaide Hills.
Yep.
So I joined the club Christmas '78.
Yep.
And I've been here ever since, of course.
Yeah.
As a young bloke, I was Aussie rules football was my first love, and I played as a boy, a schoolboy, and did all right at it. Played in the state schoolboy side as a young bloke, and went on to play with the Sturt League Club for a couple of years, and then we moved up to the Riverland, where I played. I lived there for the next 20 years, involved in football, basketball, and so on.
Yeah. I joined the club in 1972, Albert. Actually, I first started playing bowls. My old fellow I took over from as a boss of Bennett and Fisher in those days. He was a very keen bowler of Willunga, and he taught me into playing bowls. Just when I couldn't see a cricket ball. I couldn't see it, so I sort of played bowls instead.
When I first came to the club, we had Lloyd Lemerington was in charge of the place. He wasn't the president, but he was in charge. And but he was a wonderful administrator, and it wasn't very long before he was twisting my arm to perhaps take some further involvement.
So I am now, right now, the longest playing member of Willunga Bowling Club, which some people say the oldest, but I don't like that word. It's the longest.
You have some theories about coaching and playing as a team. Can you give us a bit of insight?
I picked up a lot when I was coaching football, because I think all sports are basically the same. It's about camaraderie and the teamwork, and if you've got a group of people who get on with one another, well, they're going to get the best possible result. If you've got 4 blokes that are fantastic bowlers and hate one another, well, you're not going to go very far.
When I think back over the years that I've been here, it's almost always personalities that come to my mind first.
I've been club champion 3 times and club pairs champion 5 times, I think it is, and represented the association, so I had my share of luck, you might say. When we started off, we had just grass greens, of course. There was a large hedge on the southern side, a very large hedge. And I believe in the early days it was very handy for keeping the drinks cool. They weren't all soft drinks either, I believe.
But it's a good, always been a good club. It's very friendly. It's got a country atmosphere, and the town is surrounded by vineyards. Yeah, everybody knows one another. You soon get to know. It's not a big club.
So what do you love about Willunga?
It's changed dramatically. It has changed dramatically. But for a start, I like the socialness of it, the countryside of it. It's a very pretty place, of course, but it's a nice atmosphere to live in. And particularly when we had children, it was a good place to bring your children up. It really was.
And we've gone through this major change with our club, where we've gone from grass to carpet, and our club now is, I think, as good as anything around. New lights, we got the carpet, and everybody that comes here to bowl thinks the carpet's beautiful to bowl on. So from our perspective, you know, it doesn't get much better than that.
Okay, TJ, earlier in the show you made a pretty big claim, the claim that Bowls Exposed is the only show on the planet that does a weekly magazine format. And so I think it's worth investigating that claim a little bit more. I mean, why are we the only show about bowls on a weekly basis?
I can't think of any other. We've had shows in the past.
We have.
Jack High on Channel 2.
Certainly, yep.
We've had, I think, a Channel 9 show that went for a while.
Oh, yep.
Bowls was on ABC obviously for a long time.
Yep,
I remember watching it as a kid. I know lots of people used to watch it, but they haven't been around now for what, since 2011? And even then they weren't discussing the everyday things that are around the bowls community. There was rarely interviews with stars of the day unless it was after game.
And you know, look, I mean, they film the APL, but that's a bowls competition, not a bowl show. It's filmed once a year.
With the lack of the media out there, the TV shows and all that, is our sport a dying sport?
There are younger and younger bowlers playing at that elite level all the time. I mean, certainly when I started playing, and I started when I was 7 and a junior, I was back in the era where you weren't even allowed to play competitively until you were like 12 or 13. And just last week, you know, we did the article with Josh Studham. He's 16 years old and he's skipping a Premier League team. But so I think there's a lot of youth coming through.
On that, can clubs keep the young ones? That's the thing. With the lack of social media, with a lot of them can't do it, can they keep the young ones in the club and keep them going instead of going off to other sports?
Certainly. It's a game that we all know has been known as an old person sport, but in an age with social media and technology and all these sorts of things, younger people are getting into it. Is the sport itself harnessing that social media technology that's out there? I'm gonna say I don't think we're doing as much as we can in terms of that kind of exposure.
I think one of the things you've got to look at within the game with the young people in there is that from a governing body they can't hold on to the younger players. It's not their responsibility. It's at club level. So, you know, from a club perspective, if you're looking at your own club, are you doing everything you can to engage the younger people at that appropriate level? Because you've got to understand, it's not up to them to come to our level, it's for us to understand and set an environment that's open for everyone at each age group.
Certainly.
And sometimes we can, it doesn't matter what sport it is, we can sometimes be closed off from tradition on that, and it can be somewhat uninviting to younger people. And you know, we've actually spoken time and time again to different people through our show and at the clubs that talk about the history and the culture of the club, and you know, younger people hear that and think, well, is there a place in that for me?
And one of the biggest things I've noticed, particularly in the eastern seaboard clubs, is that they have a strong family community outreach program, for want of another way of putting it. You often see families together out bowling competitively or socially, that it's got that environment where everyone can be involved. That might be a way into it, that it's not so much of an individual pursuit. It's more something that everyone can be involved at a community or family level.
Guys, talking about Bowling Club and the property developers wanting to develop their prime real estate that they've got, and some clubs like Port Elliot right on the beachfront that developers love to put some townhouses on. What do you think of that,
So
guys?
you're saying that there's a threat from developers to take the assets of the land that these clubs have forged on. I think, yeah, that's definitely a problem in some cases. I think we can also look to Torrensville Bowling Club, who we looked at last week, as a club in a similar position. Well, they actually took charge of that situation. They made the sale, they formed a new club, and they've managed to turn that around in their own way. So I think there's probably pluses and minuses for that.
Yeah, well look, Jess, you know, you can have a look at some of the past. We discussed it earlier as far as the shows went and the attention, but I think that we're actually sitting on a gold mine. I'm going to argue, Michael and Jess, that we're sitting on a gold mine. We've got a great future ahead of us.
do,
yes. With the introduction of the APL, Michael, and you know, you were talking about that earlier.
Yep.
It's a fantastic concept.
So what do you reckon out there? Do you, is the sport dying? Is the sport flourishing? Or is it just plateauing? Writing on Facebook, YouTube, any which way you can, let us know. If you've got an opinion, tell us. We'd love to hear it.
This is her second time.
This is the first time ever.
Yeah.
Only for this season.
Okay. I've been playing for about 12 years.
You know, you can have a career in lawn bowls.
You can.
Also, you've got to encourage people who are new. And I mean, we like winning, but
too good sometimes.
What? Are we just catching up now? So we're trying our best.
Well, we've lost 2 ends so far. So.
I actually have almost had Jack a couple of times. I've even hit the Jack.
Oh, so you're beating them, are you?
Yeah, apparently so. I'm surprising myself. Drink while you're doing it? That's gotta be a bonus.
yeah, well, that's what Night Owls is all about.
We had a few Facebook comments this past week, guys. One of them was from Neville Jenke up in the Loxton area. He was talking about his son, Garen, who's 17, who's a skipper up in their league. So far we haven't, from last week's conversation, found anybody that's younger than Josh skippering, but it's good to see that there's some other people out there under 18 skippering top leagues. That's great.
Yeah, dead right, Jess, and it's good to see, and thank you very much for posting in. Hey, Ben from Brighton. Ben's always an active participant in Facebook, and thank you very much. So thanks for your comment about Josh, and we know that Josh is a star, and Ben, keep the comments coming. I know Ben gets hold of me off the green and has a conversation we play against each other, so mate, thank you very much.
And our first contribution to the pool room this week comes from Scott Piper with his great photograph of sunset at the McLaren Vale Bowling Club. So I think we're going to get that one framed and we'll stick that one above the bar in the pool room. If you've got anything else to contribute, by all means send it into Facebook, send it into Bowls SA, just send it in and we'll throw it straight to the pool room.
Well, we can actually add to that, can't we? We can actually sit there, that photo, who can send us a better photo of the scenery from their club?
Gauntlet has been thrown, people.
Absolutely.
Go for it. Okay, so I'm here with Jack and Felicity Warrington at the Willunga Bowls Club, and I understand that you two are responsible for some romance on the greens. Is that right? You met on the greens?
We met on the greens in 1996.
Yes.
First person I met and played with her. I played bowls with her on the green.
Ah,
and
brilliant.
Then, and then we just blossomed from then on.
I joined here in 1988. And Jack didn't come down from the Riverland until 1966, and I was a widow.
66?
Oh, sorry, 96. And I was a widow, and he was divorced.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just had our 18th wedding anniversary, haven't we?
Something like that.
Fantastic, congratulations. From the notes I have, you both former pennant winners, if that's correct.
Well, we went to Port Vincent for 7 years, and I did skipper there, and we won the Division 1 pennant from Yorktown. It was the first time the girls had ever beaten Yorktown, And I just burst into tears at the end. The concentration and the excitement was enormous. And the same year, the men won.
The men won.
And
it,
everyone
first time
went to
ever.
the local hotel and we danced on the tables and we made up songs and the whole town just rejoiced. And that's what Pennants is all about. You just strive to do your best.
Yeah.
And have you got any big plans on the horizon for the club, or any goals that you're all looking to try and achieve in the next little while?
We all strive to win our pennant we're playing. And we're in top division at the moment and we want to win top division. Whether it happens or not, I don't know, but you keep striving. That's why we play and keep coming out every week.
We're terribly committed. We never go away between September and March. It's just not done. But as you can see, it's kept me going. The fact that I'm married a younger man and played bowls, and I'm still upright.
Jack and Felicity from the Willunga Bowls Club, romance and championship bowling abounds down here. Great interview there with Jack and Felicity, who have been playing bowls for a long, long time and have still managed to find romance and excitement in the game after all of these years. It was a great little interview there.
Obviously, you don't play against each other.
No. Awkward dinner table conversation, I imagine. Yeah. What have we got coming up, guys?
Well, look, we've got some 1,000-game bowlers coming up in future episodes.
So, yes, we got a Skype interview with Brett Wilkie.
Looking forward to that, actually. I've been sitting on the edge of my chair waiting for that one, Jess. That's going to be a cracker.
Yes.
Absolute cracker.
And next week, I think we're at the Ramsgate Hotel, is that right?
Absolutely, venue of choice, the Ramsgate down there at Henley Beach. So all that and more to look forward to in future episodes. So, from the only bowl show on the planet, we'll see you next week.